Hi, welcome back to Making It with Mingling. Today we are on page 90 of our 100-day journey through jump journaling. We got a contrast of pages here, but I have done some doodling while I was recovering from surgery, and those pages where they had the white, I just doodled. So that part's ready. I have selected the quote today right here. An inch of movement is better than a mile of intentions. So I'm going to set that to the side. And first off, I found this in the photograph book. And that to me shows movement. And it also goes with the black tab I had already sewn on this in its early construction. So I am going to glue that down with no reservations about that at all. And this was out of that photograph book that I got for 20 cents. It's a gift that keeps on giving. And it's funny because I wasn't going to get that one, but he said, "You're short a book," because it was 10 books for $2. So I just went and grabbed one out of the bin. I didn't even look at it. And this one, the cover looked interesting. I thought, okay, this might be just what I need. And I've already got my money's worth because I have used it all throughout this volume. Fun pictures, lots of fun pictures. There's some very creative photographers that submitted work, that's for sure. And I love the jukebox in the background. But when I saw it, I knew it was the right thing because the colors kind of blend up to the sky. So I've got nice movement in my picture. Now the other thing I thought about is, let me silence my phone here, sorry. Make sure it's nothing important, as always. Okay. Just notification that a part will be here on Tuesday, thank goodness. Our garage door broke. The spring or the wheel busted. If you know anything about the construction of a garage door opener, I thought I would incorporate a map because that's what I think about when I think about miles. So I am just, this was it Kentucky or Tennessee map? Something like that. And I just want it rough. I don't want it to be smooth necessarily. So I'm just going to hand tear this one down at the bottom to get that white off of it. Okay, that's a little bit wider than I need it to be, so let's tear a little bit more off of it. That's about right. And then I also have something I can't see. I have this, and this is the company that my dad worked for, and my dad died in 1992. And I have held on to this. And this is the reason it is kind of sentimental to me is because he was a truck driver, and I remember when he got his hat, not a ball cap, but like a formal cop-looking hat. When he got his hat for driving 1,000,000 safe miles, and he also got a patch to put on his leather jacket, he was the proudest man I'd ever seen. And these are some of his logbook. This is out of one of his logbooks that he had not used all the way. And I kept some of the ones that he had filled out just so I'd have his handwriting. And I've got those in my cedar chest. But this one, I had cleaned out my cedar chest, and I said, okay, it can go upstairs. I'll craft with it. So I'm just going to separate it. I'm not going to use the whole thing. It's just to remind me of those million miles that my dad traveled, and he actually did more than that, but I just remember that day of how proud he was. So anytime that you can move forward, even if it's an inch, it's important, especially if you have any wonderful autoimmune disorders, and no, they're not wonderful. They're a pain in your butt, and they mean that you're always dealing with something. But you just can't sit still. You have to move forward. You move forward with your treatment plan. You follow your treatment plan, and if you start getting down, you find a friend that can lift you up. You do something that makes you feel better. For me, it's art. I've done some of my best art when recovering. The most interesting art was when I had back surgery, and I had them to bring me my journal, my art journal. And that was before I started making journals, so it was kind of cool to look back on that. I may show it to you one day. It actually has my x-rays in it where they gave me a picture of where I had where the cage was, and the before and the after. And so I included that in my book, and a doctor came in to check on me one day, and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm writing about my day." She said, "Are you going to write about me?" I said, "Well, you're part of my day, aren't you?" And then she started asking me questions, and I cracked up laughing. I said, "Well, I'll have plenty to report today." She had me laughing, and I told her, I answered her questions truthfully, but the way I answered them was not in a fashion that she was used to. She looked at me and she said, "I can't believe you're laughing. You're on day 3 of the hospital." I said, "If I didn't laugh, I'd cry. Y'all would be putting me in the psych ward." I said, "Because y'all kept me still for 3 days." She said, "Yeah, I've heard you've been running all over the halls, and they can't have to come find you." I said, "Yeah." And I said, I don't do beds for long. I don't do still, and I just can't do it. The first morning, you don't sleep in the hospital. Well, you might. I don't, because they come in there like the night after surgery. They come in there every hour, and I know they're just doing their job, so I try not to be mean to them. But good Lord, I told them, I said, "I just want to sleep. I just want to go home and sleep in my own bed." And I couldn't go home because my body was not cooperating. Oh well. Ended up, that was the longest I had been in the hospital. I mean, I had to stay 3 days when I had my children, because they were both C-sections. But that was the longest I had been. If they ever have to keep me in the hospital a week, they better send me some mental help, because I will be crazy, unless I'm too sick to know it, I guess. I'll go to a hospital if I have to, but sure don't like to. That's what my orthopedic doctor said. "Why didn't you go to the emergency room when you hurt your arm?" I said, "Because I wasn't even going to sit down over there with all them people. Coughing and hacking? No. Oh, no." I need to go to the well office visit. I don't need to be around sick people. That's the last thing I need. Sorry. When you take stuff that suppresses your immune system, you don't want to choose to be around sick people. You want to avoid them, even if it means you have to wait and deal with the pain. It's okay. We tough. We can do it. Page 90. Can you believe it? We're there already. I have trouble believing it. Let's see. I'm going to kind of angle that because I don't want to cover up the name of the company. My daddy loved truck. He loved driving a truck. When he was 16 years old, he was already working in a mill, and all he would every week he would go up and check and see if they had a job for him at one of the local trucking companies. And they kept telling him, "No, sir, we can't hire you until you're at least 18 years old. The laws here in Virginia forbid it." So as soon as he turned 18, he went up there and he passed his truck driving test, and they hired him, and he worked. That's the kind of work he did up until he passed. But he loved it. I mean, he loved it dearly. And if like they were union, it was a union job generally. And if they went on strike and he was home and wasn't on the road, he would get so sad. I mean, he just missed it that much. So, if I put this here, that kind of matches the shape of that. So I do like that. Okay, that's what we're going to do. And we're going to glue that with the art glitter glue. I could have put it down with the matte medium, but I put my brush in the water, and I'm not going to get up and get another clean brush just for that one little piece here. Ah, yeah, glue it upside down. That'd be real nice. Alright, so there we have page 90. An inch of movement is better than a mile of intentions. Let's get a close-up of that. And I have just a couple more pages in this one, but I am not going to do 91 through 100 because I want to do that one in another journal. I do want to show you what I've done on these pages back here. The day I was out on the deck with watercolors, I had this outside with me, and these are my effort to paint some flowers. This I just used a round brush, and it was real simple. I know it's not a beautiful print, but it's an effort, and I actually like making these flowers. I could sit and do sheets and sheets of them, I think, because I used a soft round brush, and it just really shaped those leaves very nicely. And then here, I did not plan to have a heart in here, but after when I looked at this, I saw the heart, what looked like a heart shape in it, so I went ahead and marked it out. So those are the end of the book, or this journal. And I will be doing a flip through, so just watch for it. It'll be a little short. I'll do a flip through of all the pages in this particular volume. So the next time you see a video come out, it'll be that it is the volume 6, and then I will be starting with volume 7 the next time we are together. So until next time, be well, my friends. Bye-bye.